Well, people in one Spartanburg neighborhood are getting ready to try to take control of their own destiny. More than a dozen people who live or work in the Highland neighborhood just southwest of downtown Spartanburg will participate in a 9-month program called the Highland Neighborhood Leadership Institute. Now, the goal of the program is to help give neighbors resources and tools needed to strengthen their voices and abilities to make positive changes in their community.
All right, Fox Carolina's Zach Perletsky joining us live in studio now with much more. Zach.
Justin and Tori, the Highland neighborhood is a historically African-American neighborhood that the city of Spartanburg says has become an area with highly concentrated poverty. In 2020, the city approved the Highland Transformation Plan and this Leadership Institute, the latest part in that process.
There's a loyalty to this community that's unseen in any other neighborhood I've ever known. Once you come through Highland, you're going to always come back.
Wilma Moore and Leroy Jeter have made a lot of memories in the Highland neighborhood over the years.
I think I moved into the Highland community in 1950.
But times have also been tough since the 1960s and 70s.
Urban renewal has started going down at that point.
Now, decades later, the two community leaders are hopeful change is coming.
Individuals who live in Highland, who work there, who play there, will have an opportunity to explore more deeply the data that continues to be perpetual and that holds communities back.
Mary Thomas is the executive director of the Robert Het Chapman III Center for Philanthropy and is helping organize a 9-month program called the Highland Neighborhood Leadership Institute, which is modeled after the Grassroots Leadership Development Institute that has been going on since the mid-2000s.
Inspiring hope, showing what's possible, and valuing the voice of people.
Once a month, the neighbors in the program will meet on a variety of topics, from poverty to housing to crime and more, issues identified through the city's transformation plan.
Giving us an opportunity to learn how to handle the transformation, and how to, just work with the transformation plan, ensure that we get what we want.
For neighbors like Moore, this is an opportunity to make a difference. Change those who call this place home have been working towards for years.
We need somebody that's gonna not just come for a camera op or for a smile or opportunity and lead the neighborhood. We need somebody that's gonna ready to get down and get dirty. Because, yeah, we're getting ready to go to work.
Now, the group is scheduled to meet for the first time all together in February. And at the end of that 9-month program, the people involved will work on a final capstone project that directly impacts one of the main issues facing the neighborhood. For now reporting, Zach Perletsky, Fox Carolina News.